so, how many times have you seen the play?
Oh gosh. I've been writing about it all day. So I have, probably like 20 million.
Yeah, I'm about between 20 and 30 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go to any Steeler fans Instagram page or Twitter page or any social media page, they have shown that play.
Right.
It's
It was so beautiful. It was such a
beautiful.
beautiful play. I mean, it was all around, like from the pass to the catch. I mean, the whole thing was just lovely. And they have it in Spanish. You'll have to check it out. It's
I
quite
saw the Spanish
quite
version too.
enjoyable. Yeah.
I learned, wait, touchdown isn't touchdown in Spanish. It's something
It's like
else.
drop it or
Yeah.
something. I don't even know. It's or trapito, or I was like, what? Because I presume that's what it was anyway, because I heard it like a trillion times in that play call by the Spanish announcer. So I'm presuming that's what touchdown is.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. What a game. What a win. This is 2 weeks in a row now where during the game I've said, oh, well, here's why we lost. I've already declared we've lost. Like, well, we lost.
Yep.
Raiders game, last minute drive, they come back. This game, last minute drive, they come back. Amazing.
And it's a first there. I mean, I think against the Colts, I want to say it was a last minute thing, but I think it was Najee that scored on the ground or something. So I'm pretty sure that last week and this week were Kenny's first like passing touchdown winning drives. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure anyway. So it's weird. Like, we're not used to it. We're so used to comebacks from Ben Roethlisberger. You know what I'm saying? But we're just not sure yet because they haven't been all that successful, especially in the red zone. We're just not sure yet that they were even capable of doing that. You know what I mean? I sort of feel like, at least for me, you know what I mean? I was wondering, when it really comes down to it, is Kenny Pickett going to be able to win his games? And he's shown 2 weeks in a row that hell yeah, he can.
That's the thing. And that's why, when they asked, Tomlin's like, well, why did you get Kenny Pickett? He's like, because of this. You look at a lot of quarterbacks and they don't have that clutch gene. They don't have that ability. They could put up stats when it doesn't matter, but when the game is on the line and you need a touchdown, you need someone to drive you down the field. Ben Roethlisberger had that, like,
oh yeah,
to infinity.
Yeah.
Now this is the fourth game-winning come from behind drive for Kenny Pickett.
Oh, it's the fourth. Okay, I didn't know that. It's
the fourth. There was one against, I think, New Orleans.
Okay.
It was, and I forgot, and I don't know the fourth one.
Okay.
But I think you're right. I think this is the those did not involve touchdown passes. These passes.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's when it counts. Yeah. He's able to deliver. And this was such a typical Steelers Ravens game.
It was. Yes. Yeah.
I swear these two teams hit each other harder than any other two teams hit each other.
Yeah, I think that I want to say there's no doubt. I mean, even the players say it's the most physical matchup they play all year. The two games with the Ravens are the most physical, and I don't doubt that one bit.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I if I'm the Ravens, I don't know. They desperately need Lamar Jackson. Hopefully they're just putting him on ice and just saving him for the playoffs or something like that. But
that's sort of the feeling I get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like, why, you know what I mean? Like, it, because they're not saying that it's, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, it's so serious. Obviously it's serious enough for him to miss games, but I sort of feel like if if they weren't, whatever their record is,
if their record was worse, if their record was worse and they were trying to get in the playoffs, I'll bet Lamar Jackson would be out.
No doubt.
But they figured, well, we made the playoffs. It would be nice to win the AFC North, but we'll just, we'll just do whatever. So we really don't need these games.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think I pity whoever has to play Baltimore in the playoffs because, he's going to be a healthy Lamar. I mean, you would think anyway. He's going to be well rested. You know what I mean? Like, he's not all of a sudden going to become a great quarterback. He's still going to, have problems, in clutch time and throwing the ball. And, he always chokes in the playoffs. He doesn't have yet that ability to, to push them forward, into the playoff drive or whatever the hell. So, he's going to be rested, and whoever he plays, you know what I mean? I think they're going to have to, really take that into consideration. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. The Ravens are really good at some things, and at some other things they're just really bad at. For example, I was screaming at the TV and on Twitter last night, "Attention, universe. They are going to throw to Mark Andrews. You might want to cover him." They will throw it to any of the wide receivers. I don't even know if they have wide receivers on their
I don't
roster.
think so. Nope. No, they don't.
They were either running it to Dobbins, maybe Huntley would do a quarterback run, but most likely they were throwing it to Mark Andrews, and that's it. He's their entire passing game.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. You can't sustain that.
No.
And I mean, I know they've had wide receivers that got hurt, but still.
Right. Yeah, they're not their receivers. I don't know, why they haven't, because I feel like if they had solid receivers, they would probably be about, not that they're in the playoffs. So, you know what I mean? We can't really say that they're a bad team, but I just feel like offensively, they would be better if they had at least one or two guys that could, besides Mark Andrews.
Imagine the Ravens with a good wide receiver. They would be so dangerous. You're right. Because
can you imagine that?
Yeah, they would have the threat of that wide receiver. And if that wide receiver's not covered, it's like, oh, we'll just throw to Mark Andrews, who's one of the best tight ends.
Right.
And it's like, oh, and then by the way, he's like, oh, I think I'll have Lamar just run around all over the place.
Exactly.
So it's a crazy situation for them. And that's so yeah, I mean, really. Right now, they're the 6th seed. So they'll either be the 5 or the 6th seed. So they're either going to be at the Chiefs, at the Bills, or at the Bengals, or at whoever wins the AFC South, which would be a gimme. That would be that would be an easy win. So yeah, I mean, I'm so excited about the playoffs. It just, I mean the game tonight, Bills and Bengals. How exciting is that?
Totally. Like to have that kind of matchup at this point in the season and having both teams like powerhouses, like it's phenomenal.
I think I saw it's the greatest Monday night matchup ever because it's the most combined wins of any two teams. So, I'm excited. I mean, I think I don't think there's like a clear cut number one team. The Chiefs are good, but they're not unstoppable. Like the Chiefs, the Bills, and Bengals are in that one tier.
Yeah,
and any one of them can excel. So
it's been a weird season like that.
It's interesting. It's so interesting. But the Steelers are still in it, which is insane.
It really is. Especially they started 2-5. You know what I mean?
2-6. They were 2-6 at one point.
Oh, like they were awful. It was bad. It was bad. Like my eyes bled every time I would watch the Steelers play. They were just bleeding.
Yeah. We were talking about like, oh, we might get a top 10 pick. Oh, we might. Who are we gonna get in the draft? And maybe we should tank. And then now they've basically gone 6-2. And
yeah. They've got to be like 15th, 16th, 7th, like in the low.
I would imagine the draft order. I would imagine is probably like something like probably something 20 or under or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking it must be like 15 to 20, and I still think that that's probably about. It's going to be one of their highest. Besides, trading up for Devin Bush, it's going to be one of their highest. Selections.
Here's a funny thing:
5 or 6 years.
Right now, they are the 15th pick.
Okay.
So that's still a good pick.
Yeah.
But if they win, then that probably will get worse. But oh well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's only one more game. You know what I mean? So,
or is there?
well, I mean, they
I mean, in
figure
the
it out
regular
after the
season,
regular
but
season, right? Don't they?
yeah,
Or
no,
yeah,
in the regular season, but
right.
I could see them making the playoffs. I could see
Yeah.
this scenario. They have to beat the Browns. The
Yeah.
Dolphins have to lose against the
Which,
Patriots, and
yeah.
the Dolphins have to lose
Oh, to the Jets.
um against the Jets, and the
Yes.
Patriots have to lose against the Bills, which
Yeah.
would easily happen. So that could
Oh, yeah.
easily
Yeah.
happen. Uh, um
It can totally happen. There's no question. Because I mean, the Dolphins are all jacked up with their quarterback situation. The Bills always want to hand it to the Patriots, and they
yes.
have since Josh Allen came along. You know
Oh,
what I mean? At least
the
it might have
Bills
been
hate them. Everybody
right.
hates the Patriots, but
Exactly.
especially the
Yeah.
Bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, like, I thought I hated the Patriots because of Tom Brady. Because when he left, I still hated the Patriots.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like,
No,
you know.
it's everything. It's everything about
Yeah.
that team.
Mhm.
That would be absolutely amazing if they made the playoffs.
It
Even
would
if they
be.
just finished 9-8, that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Right. Yeah. With the tip of the hat to Mike Tomlin on that
Mike
one.
Tom, yeah.
I sort of feel like it's possible that's all they could be playing for on Sunday. You know what I mean? Because,
Well, I
by
think
the time, oh no, you know what? They're all at 1:00, right?
it's all I want. It's all at the
Oh,
same
that's
time.
right. That's right. Because they determined the game was at 1. That's right. You're right. Never
I
mind.
love that.
Edit that part out.
I love that. I love that part. I love that so much. I love that last week of the season when you're scoreboard watching and you're watching your game. It's like, well, let's go to Buffalo. Let's go here. Let's go there because these games mean a lot. So, oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm such a nerd. I would, when I was a kid on graph paper, I would graph all of the teams and their playoff possibilities and their standings and stuff like that, because I'm such a dork. I was just such a football dork about that stuff. I don't know why.
Right.
I just love the playoffs and the whole thing. So
Yeah. The playoffs are great. And it's gonna be, it's like I said, it's been a weird season this year all around, not even just for, not just for the Steelers, obviously, but it's gonna be an interesting playoff thing. Playoffs.
The other crazy stat is the whole how are they with TJ Watt and how are they without TJ Watt thing. It's
Yeah.
disgusting. It's disgusting. Like in the past few years, like they're an amazing record with TJ Watt, and it's a guaranteed loss if it's without TJ Watt.
Yeah. I want to say like they're 0-8 or 0-9 without him. And then they
Something
won
like
that one game.
Right.
They won that one game recently without him somehow. And so now, they got that monkey off their back. You know what I mean? So not that they probably didn't give two shits. The Steelers don't care. Obviously they care, that he's healthy.
No, I mean it's
they don't care what their record is.
And you think, well, who cares about TJ Watt? It's like, well, TJ Watt's the best player on the team. He's one of the best players in the league. Take away any team's best player and see how they do. Look at the Eagles without Jalen Hurts.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. That's why I sort of feel like, Jalen Hurts, and they're talking about, Patrick Mahomes, MVP. I'm sort of thinking, if anything, Gardner Minshew, you know what I mean? Dropping, not that it was just him alone, but just the fact that they've dropped those 2 games and they were efficient. You know what I mean? Obviously they were 13-1, you know what I mean? Before he got hurt. So obviously they were efficient, but it's like, this kind of shows that he's the MVP. He should be the MVP, the clear cut MVP of the league.
Yeah. I mean, that's the definition of valuable.
Right.
You win when your team
can't do this without you.
We cannot do this without you.
Right, exactly.
When you're not there, we can't do it. So,
right. Yeah, exactly.
It is absolutely crazy that the Eagles at one point were undefeated and now they might not even become the number 1 seed, which would be insane.
Yeah. Which would be.
Yeah. So that's crazy. I also think it's crazy that the Packers might make the playoffs because they were in the same situation as the Steelers. They were absolutely horrible, and they rattled off a bunch of wins. So they look like they got it together. So that would be really cool if the Packers made it. Although I kind of would like the Lions to make it too. That would be fun.
Yeah, too. It would be. It was always good to see the underdog. You know what I mean? Like finally one of those situations. But they're on a good. That's the thing. If they don't make it, they're on the right path for sure with Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Those players really
Um,
believe in him, and that's really good for the Lions.
I'm also really impressed with Jacksonville, and they're basically playing
Right.
Tennessee for the
Yeah.
AFC South next week. That's
Mhm.
exciting. I mean, they were the number 1 pick of the draft. They had the worst record last year, and now they go
Right.
from worst to the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
really impressive.
And what's weird about that situation is all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence became good. Like it wasn't like at least I don't remember hearing about him being good until like 5 or 6 weeks ago. Like I always thought like he's a bust, he's never gonna be. But then there are quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts or I don't know, some other guys that it just takes them a couple years and then all of a sudden bang. You know what I mean? They're really good. And sometimes they live up to that, potential of where they're drafted.
I think the level of difficulty is so high to be a quarterback that you
Mhm.
got to figure it out. And we're seeing that with Kenny Pickett. He still has a long way to go to quote unquote figure it out, but he is figuring it out. He's getting a little bit better every week.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not that deer in the headlights, totally lost thing. He's, he makes mistakes, but then he learns from them.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and you got to remember with Trevor Lawrence, he had the worst quarterback in NFL history last year. That Urban Meyer is a freaking
That's
joke.
true.
So he was basically his development was stunted.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that is kind of shocking. Well, there's 2 things that were really awesome about this last game. The running game was amazing. Mostly the running game was amazing because the offensive line is good.
They looked really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else you could say. It's just
I mean,
wow.
Najee 22 carries for 111 yards. Jaylen Warren 12 carries for 76 yards.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's another thing. We were saying, what's wrong with Najee?
Mm-hmm.
Is he a bust?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Trent Richardson.
He's Trent Richardson. I was saying he's too fat. He put on too much weight.
Right. Yeah.
Me of all people telling someone they're fat. Okay, that's a bit of hypocritical, but no, we were saying all these things, and we were saying maybe he's a bust, and meanwhile he's just hurt. But ever since the bye, he has been a completely different person.
Oh, no doubt.
My goodness, when he runs like those people owe him money.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
He wants to hurt someone. They have that segment, angry runs or whatever. Every Najee run is an angry run. That guy doesn't just look to gain yards. He likes to gain yards and hurt someone.
Right.
He looks for people. He looks for people like, I'm coming you. I'm coming. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. And I sort of feel like he loves just as much yards after contact as he does whatever he gains, before that or whatever. Because it's like he just likes to drag guys with him. You know what I mean? Like he just likes to just keep going. And a funny side story you were talking about Naj being fat. There's right after Franco died, they were showing a clip of him watching the Steelers game with Naj. And at one point he told Franco like his height, weight thing. And Franco, so whatever weight he told Franco was like, whoa. And now just like, yeah. You know what I mean? So it was funny to see, what I mean? Like,
that's funny.
He's a bigger, he's a heftier kind of guy.
Well, he chose to be bigger. Like, after his rookie year, he could have gone the smaller routes to be quicker, or he could have gone the bigger route to be tougher, like a Derrick Henry. And he chose to be bigger and tougher. And that, hey, it's working for him.
Yeah.
Whatever. But that's funny. Franco Harris, who is a big running back, is looking at him like, dang, dude.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was great.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. The other thing is Jaylen Warren, 12 carries, Najee 22.
Yeah, that's a good.
Now, how important is it that you have a good running back behind him? That's a great 1-2 punch. So you don't wear Najee down and you don't tire him out.
Right. Yeah. We've talked about this so many times. You know what I mean? About how, that Tomlin loves to run his running backs' wheels off, and
You got in trouble for
so
that. I remember that.
right. Yeah, exactly. I think you were talking about something about a buoy and, being on a boat and, just letting Najee drown.
Right.
Tomlin is on the boat or whatever.
So-
Yeah. But all of a sudden I guess that's what having a solid second guy does for you. You know what I mean? Like they had D'Angelo Williams a little bit, with Lev, but Lev was so good that you really didn't need. Not that Naj
Right.
isn't, you know what I mean? But you just really didn't need, and it was a different kind of league as well, you know what I mean? So it's just good to see finally, they seem to be it's a really great, like you said, a really great 1-2 punch, and it's gonna do a hell of a lot, I think, for Naj's longevity long term, whether it's with the Steelers or his whole career.
This offense is so young.
It is.
God.
Yeah.
Like, Kenny, rookie, Najee, second year, Jalen Warren, rookie, Fryermuth, second year, Deontay, third or fourth year, Pickens, rookie. Like, my goodness.
Yeah.
They're all babies and they're all growing. We're seeing them growing up before our very eyes. And it's so wonderful. And like, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And what's cool is the offensive
playoffs in the rebuilding year.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like the offensive line, just 2 years ago, they had like the oldest offensive line. I want to say it was like literally the year that Pouncey retired or whatever was the last year that they were.
Might have been. It might have been. I mean, those guys were together for like 10 or 11 years.
Right.
The same group. So yeah.
Yeah. So now I think that they're one of the. I mean, even Mason Cole, even James Daniels. You know what I mean? Like they're like
25, 26, something like that.
Right,
there's no old people in that group.
No, nope.
And that was very much a calculated thing. That's something they wanted to do because that's who they targeted. Yes, that you draft people, but they also the people they got in free agency were young, were on their second contract. So and I mean, Fryermuth is just, they keep comparing him to Travis Kelce. He's basically like a hybrid between Kelce and George Kittle, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Or I mean, I think the best comparison is Heath Miller for sure. I mean, I just think. And I think that that's what they saw when they drafted him. Like, you know what I mean? Like he could be our next Heath Miller. And really, a lot of people did talk about that. And I just sort of feel like because blocking, like Heath wasn't all that great. I mean, when he was done, he wasn't awesome. You know what I mean? But he was a hell of a lot better when he retired than when he first came to Pittsburgh. So I think we're sort of seeing that, like Pat's not all that great of a blocker, but he's getting better.
That's a thing. That's a thing. The Steelers ideally would like somebody to block well and somebody to be a good pass catcher. And Fryermuth is a good pass catcher.
Yeah.
He still needs to work on his blocking, but still he's on his way, which is really cool.
Right. I think that's why they're keeping like Gentry around. Like obviously he's a tall guy, so it's a big target, but he's a better blocker than Pat. So
Sims had a good game. Sims had that one catch he had. Woo-hoo.
That was George Pickens-esque. Yeah. I was like, who is that? What's going on? Right. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. But the whole thing, this game was almost very controversial because for most of the game, the Ravens were leading, and they were leading because at the end of the first half, Cam Hayward got some unnecessary roughness or whatever penalty, and that was absolute ridiculous.
That was crap.
It was total crap, and it almost determined the course of the game. They stopped him. They had him they were going to stop him, keep him to a field goal.
Right.
But no, they basically, the refs basically handed the Ravens a touchdown. And that was almost the difference in the game. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say, even Chris Collinsworth basically said at one point, this is the game. This was the difference in the game. when the announcers say that, who's basically
Right.
working for the league.
Yeah.
That could have been
both
a major...
of them right after the call, they were like, they kept showing it and they were like, I don't get, like, what did he do? Like, sure, you know what I mean? He did things, but so did all the other guys.
Thank
Whoever
you.
the guy that pulled him down, they were both, you know what I mean? Like, so if anything, they should have been offsetting. You know what I mean? But yeah, the call just Cam on that is bull. Yeah. They were both parties were guilty in that situation. And it's just a shame that, that it could have, if the Steelers had lost, it would have really come down to that one crucial, flag.
Crazy. At first when they said personal foul on Cam Hayward, it's like, oh, Cam, well, come on, what did you do? You know better than that. It's like, no.
I said the same thing.
Cam Hayward would never do it. He would never lose his cool at any point. So
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was whew. And then you knew that they knew that they screwed up.
Right.
And you knew that they were going to try to make it right. So I think they were going to, I hate to say it, but they were going to have a bunch of makeup calls to give the Steelers, at least to tie it.
Right, exactly. So, because the refs were just going to get dragged. I mean, that's the thing. Every year we're talking about this, not just with Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? It happens to almost every team. And it's something that's never going to be across the board good, because it's basically a bunch of dudes and judgment calls. 9 times out of 10, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of just subjective.
There is a fix. You have like Sky Judge.
Yeah.
You have somebody, and I think they do already have something like that. I think they do get like calls from, whatever, saying, hey, you screwed this up, like as it's happening. So I think they're trying to do that, but still, somebody easily could have said, yo, dude, that wasn't a penalty. Like, fix this. So,
yeah, they have meetings. The officials have meetings just like the players do after games. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that
I'm talking during the game. I'm talking like as it's happening.
Exactly. But I mean, also, you know what I mean? Like, they at least know, you know what I mean? Like, or at least they should know what they screwed up on. But it's like week after week, it's always different, and it's just like,
well, the thing that bugs me is we've seen this many times where a ref blew a call, but what we never see is the NFL or anyone saying, we have determined that this ref made a mistake. We are punishing this ref.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Never. You never hear anything about that.
Yeah. Occasionally I have heard the NFL will come out and say, that was an incorrect call. I have seen that, but no, there's never any. There's no pun, at least not that I know of, that there's no.
Sure doesn't seem like it. Sure doesn't. And we don't know. Why? Maybe, privately they put the dude in a dungeon and torture him or something. We don't know. But
without food and water, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the hole, he's going to the hole.
But yeah, we don't know what, like, just, it's tough. It's tough because then if they admit they screwed up, then that kind of damages the integrity or whatever. But
yeah, it's
all you hope for is that the screwed up calls go both ways and that it evens out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you could do. But I wanted to say that the run defense was better, but there was they
were better than the first time around, but still J.K. Dobbins just kind of had his way a lot of the time. And I sort of feel like that's sort of why I thought, well, comparing it to like Lamar coming back, fresh legs, Dobbins, he hadn't played and like he was all last year, and part of this year he was injured. You know what I mean? So I think this is probably his most consecutive games that he's played in his career. So obviously he's going to be, he's a powerful back.
He's really good.
And he's super, when he's healthy, he's a force to be reckoned with. And I think the Steelers are they're figuring that out. Like, obviously they saw that the first time with him, but he's going to be something that they really have to focus on, every time they play each other.
But of course I can't find it now. but at the it was a fourth quarter, and there was like, I don't know, 7-8 minutes left, and the Steelers were down 13-9. By the way, do you know the whole thing with 13-9 and Pitt?
No, I don't follow
Okay.
that.
Okay. So oh God, I think it was about 10 years ago. Pitt sucked, and they were playing West Virginia, who is like the number 2 team in the country, and
Wow.
Pitt was like 5-6 or something like that. They were having a
Mhm.
terrible year, but Pitt and West Virginia hate each other, and
Yeah.
they were playing in West Virginia, and all West Virginia had to do was win that game, and they would play for the national championship. And Pitt
Mhm.
beat them, a really lousy team, beat them
Wow.
13-9.
Oh.
So anytime we see the score 13-9, any Pitt
Right.
fans like, hey, there's that score, there's that score.
Yeah.
That's why someone said there is no way on earth a Pitt quarterback would lose a game 13-9, which was the
Right.
score before Kenny scored that touchdown.
Yeah.
But so they're down. It was like 7-8 minutes left,
Mhm.
and we figure, okay, this is your time, Kenny, and but they end up punting,
Right.
and they get the ball back,
Mhm.
but it was only they got the ball back at their 36, and they
Mhm.
only got 8 yards. It was a
Yeah,
3 and
3 and
out.
out. Yeah, it was bad.
That was the game right there, because it's
Right.
almost the same exact thing happened in the previous game, Steelers Ravens, but the
Mhm.
Ravens just ran it down their throat and never gave the Steelers a chance
Right.
to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. The time of possession in that first matchup was astronomically one-sided.
So
I
frustrating,
can't remember
so
what it was, but
frustrating.
it was just like, really?
It
It
was
was almost
such
shocking.
a frustrating loss, because they
Right.
easily could have won for so many reasons. So
Yeah.
so yeah, a lot of progress there, and now it's on to the Browns at home for the last game of the regular season.
Mhm.
Browns, hey, they're no pushover. They have nothing to play for, but they're gonna want to beat the Steelers. Browns
Yes.
and Steelers hate each other.
Yeah. I mean, they have a chance to play spoiler in two different ways. Not only, leaving them without, without being in the conversation for the playoffs, but also Mike Tomlin's, record. So I mean, they can
Yeah.
play spoiler in both those situations, and I'm sure that they're just salivating to do that. So it's gonna be a tough game.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson has not looked good
Mm-mm.
since coming back, but he did look pretty good in that last game against Washington.
Yeah. Yep. He
So
did. Yeah.
we'll see. This is their first time playing Deshaun Watson as
Yeah.
a Brown, so that'll be really interesting.
It will be. I just hope that they can get
I
that they can sack him at least 2 times. That would be nice.
That would be nice. That would
Yeah.
be nice. TJ Watt was mostly quiet except for that one sack he got
Mhm.
on Huntley. Ouch.
Right.
Um, okay, so I'm looking now. Right now, the forecast calls for uh cloudy, high of 36 and low of 25. So it's probably going to be like 36 degrees. So perfect football weather.
Right. Yeah, not
So
freezing, not like that Christmas Eve game or whatever that was. Yeah, or no, the Raiders game. Yeah.
the
The
Raiders
Christmas Eve.
game, yeah, that was when the entire country had weather problems,
It
and that
was
was
cold
just
here, like it was in the 40s, and I was like, "What is going
oh
on?"
my God.
I know. It was like the coldest winter since I've been here for 4 years, and it was the coldest winter, and now it's done. I mean, winter is pretty much over now. It was like 4 days.
When
No.
Florida people experience cold weather, it's the funniest thing ever.
Oh,
Because I
right.
know what you're all thinking. It's like, I left the North to escape this crap. Why is it
Exactly.
here?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember. Yeah, I was in Disney World once when it was like 40 some degrees.
Uh-huh.
And they had like multiple walking around with multiple blankets, like
Right.
like they were
Yeah.
in Antarctica or something like that. But
Mhm.
hey, I
It's like that here when it's like 60. Some people even have gloves on and like a hat on. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? It's 60 degrees. Like, it's not that bad. But yeah,
yeah,
man, when it gets cold here,
I don't know where it was, but somebody shared a thing. It's like the weather report said dangerously low temperatures, it was like 50 degrees or something.
Right.
You
Yeah.
call that dangerously low?
Yeah, at night people were covering up their palm trees and things, you know what I mean? Because it was like it was cold. It was like in the, you know, some of the lows were like in the upper 20s, low 30s. So
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I totally get it. And anytime, whenever it's like, going from when it's warm temperatures, and then the first time when it gets cold, it takes a while. It takes a week or two to get used to those cold temperatures. Now I'm used to it. Now it's what
Right.
it's if it's 35 degrees outside, I'm in shorts. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
warm. But in September or something like that, when it's 35 degrees, I'm like, oh, I hate this. So I
Yeah,
totally get it.
exactly.
It's just what you're used to.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
which actually is interesting, because I think Deshaun Watson is possibly not used to cold weather.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
playing in Houston, I mean,
he played at Houston. Where did he
mhm.
play in college? Clemson? I don't
Yeah,
know
I think
where
so.
he's from,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah, that's a
has
good
he
question.
ever
Yeah, I
had,
don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, it's like, you
he's
know, he's
from
in Cleveland
He's
now,
from
but
Georgia.
oh, he's from
So,
Georgia. Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
almost his entire career he's been playing in warm weather.
Yeah. Could be something.
I don't know.
We'll
I don't
see.
know. I mean, I don't think a team would be stupid enough to trade the world for a quarterback that doesn't like cold weather when you're in Cleveland.
Right.
But hey, it's Cleveland.
The Browns are Browns.
The
You know what I
Browns
mean?
got a
The
Brown.
Browns are Browns every
The Browns is the
time.
Browns, as Juju said.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yeah. Oh, here's another crazy stat.
Okay.
In Mike Tomlin's the entire time he's been a Steelers coach,
Mhm.
I believe there has only been 1 week where the team was not in playoff contention.
Wow.
And that was 10 years ago. Isn't that amazing? Like
It
every single
is.
week, they've they're either in the playoffs or
Right.
they're almost in the playoffs down to the
Mhm.
last week.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. That's
Amazing.
something else. Wow.
But yeah,
I think that's even more telling than the non-losing record. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it's like to make it that far, and some of the teams are, you know, not great. We know there've been like 8-8 teams, you know what I mean, that toward the end, like, oh my gosh, like we go to the playoffs. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, they just somehow Tomlin just keeps the players just
he
wanting to just
never loses the room. He
right,
never
exactly.
loses the locker room.
Mhm.
Look at some bad coaches out there, like the
Mhm.
Colts coach,
Yeah.
like that schmuck in Denver that just got fired.
Right.
You know, those teams, when they go on losing streaks, it's over.
Right.
Look at McDaniel in Miami.
Yeah.
They're I mean, obviously Tua being hurt has a lot to do with it, but still, they're
Right.
on this massive losing streak, and
Mhm.
they might be out of the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's yes. Yeah. So to say that Pittsburgh, you know, just has never really been there, it's like,
And
wow.
look at the Steelers. Even if they don't make the playoffs, what did we say at the beginning of the year? Oh my God, the offensive line.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, all these horrible things. They've been progressing. They've been getting better as the years gone on.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
That's
coaching.
what you want to see, and that's really all you can ask for with a young group. I think that they're, you know, we've talked about this so many times. I think some of the Steelers fans just feel entitled, like because we had Ben Roethlisberger and we had that solid defense and we had that Pro Bowl offensive line for all those years, that they just became like, this is the standard. This is what we should have every time. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
man. Reality
Yeah.
is it doesn't work out that way.
And people said, well, Tomlin was only good because of Ben Roethlisberger.
Right. Or because of Bill
And
Cowher's players. That was the long
that was right.
that was it for
Yeah.
the longest time too. It was like Bill Cowher's players. It's like, dude, you know, come
Shut up. Okay.
on. Right. Yeah.
There have been many coaches that have taken somebody else's players and did crap with them. So just stop
Exactly.
it.
Yes. True.
But I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah. It happens when we're old, right?
Oh no, what I was going to say was okay, you can't say he has caliber players now. You can't say
Right
he's doing it
now.
without Ben. He's basically had to start over these past couple years, and look where they're at. This is rebuilding. They weren't supposed to be good, and they might
Right.
still make the playoffs
Yeah.
with
Yep.
a bunch of babies.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
That was
I
a
mean,
baby thrown to another baby in that game.
it was, yeah, especially with regards to the hands. Dump dump.
Well, baby hands, yeah,
Oh,
because Kenny
yeah.
Pickett has little baby hands. That's right.
Yes. Oh, goodness
Yeah. The other
me.
funny thing is, Kenny Pickett's not used to cold weather. In Pitt, when he was at Pitt, it was, he'd be done at the end of November and it wasn't that cold. The
Right.
dude's from New Jersey.
Exactly.
He's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
in cold weather all his life. What are you
Mhm.
talking about?
Yeah, he proved them wrong, and obviously, he had some misfires, against the Raiders, but I think that was just I'm sure the cold did affect some of the things, because the ball, science and whatnot,
I think
what I'm saying?
I think the cold weather affected a lot of things with
Right.
both teams
Yeah,
in that
exactly. It
Raiders
was
comes. It was
even, yeah.
really cold.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, so we'll see.
Yeah. We'll
I can't
see.
believe it. I can't believe we're still talking about possibly the
I
playoffs.
know. It's really just shocking. But
And,
it's
and
fun.
and the funny thing is, okay, if they are like at the Chiefs, I don't think they have a chance in hell. If
No.
they're at the Bills, probably not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
But if they end up playing and make the playoffs and they're at the Bengals, I think that's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah. It's
Bengals are good, but
yeah,
the
they
Steelers
have
and the
flaws.
Bengals know each other really
They
well.
do. Yeah, yeah. You can't when it comes to division game, that's what they always say. Just throw the record, throw the records out the window or throw whatever out the window because two teams that really know each other are a totally different ball game, literally, than two teams that maybe play each other every 4 years or every,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So I agree. I agree with that. It should be interesting.
Talking playoffs. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. And I figure now if we don't have the 10th pick, like, because for a while it was going to be like 8, 9, 10, if we don't have a high draft pick, let's just make the playoffs then. You know what I mean? Like, there's no,
Sure.
I don't want to be any muddle in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make the playoffs now since we're not going to get a super high draft pick.
Well, I mean, speaking of draft picks, the Bears keep losing.
Oh, that's
so
great.
we got basically, and that literally, if Houston wins and the Bears lose, the Bears would end up with the #1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Which means the Steelers would end up with the 32nd overall pick because Miami forfeited their first round pick.
Right.
So technically the Steelers would have 2 first round picks.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
3 in the top like 50 or something like that. So
yeah, they really fleeced the Bears. Even if Chase Claypool's like, oh, you know what, like blah 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 down the line, you know what I mean? They're not going to regret what they did, and I'm just like, okay, but right now, I mean, literally, it's 2024 draft is when we're using that pick, so it's like, yo, whatever, dude.
I'm assuming Chase Claypool's hurt or something right now. I don't
He
even know
was,
if
but I
he's
think
playing.
he played. He was for a while, but I want to say he played this last week or something, but he wasn't. Yeah.
He needs to figure some things out.
Yeah.
I mean, basically he had like a good half year when he was a rookie, and ever since then it's been
downhill. Yeah.
It's not
inconsistent.
Good. Yeah, he needs to figure some things out. He needs to be humbled a little bit. And maybe this will humble him because it's like, you can't say it's like, oh well, the Steelers don't like me or whatever. It's like, well, this is 2 teams, dude. So now what's your
Yeah, exactly.
But still, yeah, the Steelers got such a good pick from that. That's amazing.
They really, really did. They were smart.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. This was fun.
Yeah.
Without Leanne.
We miss you, Leanne.
We do miss you, Leanne. Yes.
Even though we just almost talked for an hour.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Thank you, Joe.
Hey, I'll see you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.